As we are introduced into a series, we are quickly thrown into the grueling slogfest that is the status quo. What's the status quo, I hear you ask? Look it up. The status quo is basically what the normal is going to be for a series. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura go on missions to become better ninjas. Spider-Man, a bum-ass nigga that takes selfies. After a mass shooting, people will send their thoughts and prayers and go back to their daily lives. For the sake of you, the viewer, it's like watching an episode of SpongeBob. The basis of SpongeBob is he's a fried cook, he irritates people, but on today's episode, he goes on an adventure. Episode ends, and the next one begins back like how we started. That's the status quo. And in terms of media, the only things that really maintain this theme are comics and cartoons. Despite 60 plus years of storytelling, when you pick up a Spider-Man comic from the main line, odds are he's down on his luck, being a superhero is getting in the way of his life, new villain in town being annoying, he getting no bitches, power and responsibility. That's the beginning of every arc with Spider-Man. You're watching an episode of Smiling Friends, and in last week's episode, Charlie literally dies. Don't worry about it. Next episode gonna act like ain't nothing happened. Now the real reason this is because of money. No way is Marvel Comics gonna give up milking the biggest superhero in the world by maturing him up. No way. And Smiling Friends is a 12-minute episodic comedy adventure. There is no consequence to what happened. And while you can definitely enjoy these forms of media, there are other stories out there that allow the audience to progress with the characters in the story in real time. These parts of a story are what I like to call the points of no return. When something major happens in our story to our protagonist, that will undoubtedly affect our characters and their own story moving forward. In a movie, you'll probably understand it more as the climax, but I ain't talking about movie niggas, because they wrap that shit up in the next 15 minutes and chop it up to the game. But I want to take a dive into a couple stories that I feel have the best examples of these. And to start off, let's look at manga. No form of media does this better than manga in the anime industry. It's almost a given in every series that this will eventually happen at some point, and it greatly raises the stakes, in some cases, separates that said series away from some of its peers. In Naruto, the point of no return is the Sasuke retrieval arc. Little backstory to this arc is that throughout Naruto Part 1, our main characters get stronger each arc, and through training and honing their skills. In the case of Sasuke, he had an ulterior motive as to getting stronger, brought him one step closer to getting revenge for the murder of his clan. And while the arcs went on, he began to realize that he had put his motivation on the back burner and began to feel a real comfort in the life that he had began to make for himself. This is when we begin to see the divide in the status quo, as now our main characters are all at odds with one another. Unlike the arcs that occurred prior to this one, there isn't a happy ending. Naruto doesn't slap Sasuke on the back of the head and call him a knucklehead and head back to the village happily ever after. These niggas is fucked up. Before this arc, there were definitely some consequences, like Sasuke getting the curse mark and the third Hokage passing away, but none of that would shake the core of the narrative like this arc. In recent memory, the closest thing to this in current shonen are two of my favorite series as of right now, with Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man in the forms of the Shibuya Incident and the Gun Devil arc. Much like Naruto, these two series had their own trio of your standard shonen protags, the dumb nigga, the dark and mysterious nigga, the girl nigga. Their points of no return are a lot more drastic and fundamentally changes the course of their stories entirely. With the Shibuya Incident being really the third major mission our trio is on, they hit their turning point extremely fast as opposed to our other series, whereas the Sasuke retrieval arc seems somewhat maintained in terms of only affecting Naruto and his setting. Shibuya affects literally the entire world of Jujutsu Kaisen, as the sealing of Satoru Gojo allowed for a slew of cursed spirits to just go rampaging, and with the world without its sole protector from both the cursed spirits and the higher-ups of Jujutsu society, this leaves our protagonists to have to step up. And step up they definitely did, as we watched Yuji go through so many rounds of trauma in the course of, what should be like 4 hours or some shit? From watching two of his mentors get taken away, to seeing his teammate Obara die, allegedly, to seeing the absolute destruction his inner demon Sukuna caused, wiping out and slaughtering an ungodly amount of people and property to the point it caused a crater in the city, Yuji walked into Shibuya with a smile, and this is him in the end. In short, ain't shit to smile about since Shibuya. Chainsaw Man Part 1 will go down for me as the perfect manga that completely catches you off guard with his point of no return. See, much like Sasuke, our character Aki has a personal vendetta against a demon called the Gun Devil. However, where Sasuke decided to break away from his comfort, Aki actually dives deeper into it. Aki at the beginning didn't even want to be bothered with Denji and power, but through subsequent arcs began to embrace them, much like the family he lost when he was a child. That's until this nigga gets betrayed and becomes the very thing he wanted to destroy, the gun devil himself, leaving his brother and sister not only in life, but having them to be the ones that had to put a stop to him. I said this was the point of no return, but honestly, it's so many arcs and little instances in Chainsaw Man that you could classify as the point. But for me, I feel every chapter after this was just filled to the brim with despair. And goddamn you, Fujimoto, because this snowball fight actually had me teary-eyed. This shit was beautiful, my nigga. In Attack on Titan, you can probably say when Eren is revealed to be a Titan, when Reiner exposes himself, or hell, even the first goddamn episode is the point of no return for them. But I'm personally going to pick the last few moments before the time skip. Specifically when Eren touches Historia in the beach scene. Prior to these moments, Eren has been nothing but a hot-headed, bitch-made, funky-ass Eldian, but upon touching Historia's hand, Isayama very subtly shows that something is very different in Eren. Long gone are those large eyes replaced with dead ones, from very energetic dialogue to downright confrontational and unapologetic when speaking to others. It's very abundantly clear that whatever it was that he saw has changed him, to the point that the supporting cast can't even really recognize him anymore, and the subtle changes to even his hair and the way he moves, it's just French kiss, French kiss. Now, I know I've been primarily talking about anime this whole time, and while I really do feel as though this medium displays this the best in terms of entertainment, there are other forms of media that can do this as well, so I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between them and not sticking to a specific one. Let's take a look at Spider-Man No Way Home for a second. Not many movies in the MCU, hell, not many superhero movies, period, has such a bittersweet ending like that of this movie. And I feel like this is exactly why it has such a lasting effect. The point of no return for this movie is when Peter tells Strange to make the world forget about his existence. And I just need you guys to realize just how extreme this is as a concept. Not trying to brush off death, but for the most part in these superhero movies, death serves as a driving, motivating factor, so to speak. The main character is sad, but afterwards bounces back. But what happens when the hero loses his literal sense of self, living among people who have absolutely no memory of you? And not for lack of trying to reach back out to them, but you know that if you do, they may potentially get hurt again, or worse, maybe added to that list of people who have passed because knowing that you were a superhero. Can the writers potentially just make everything okay? Yeah, but as of right now, Peter's on his own, changing his course of livelihood from maintaining a balance of heroics and civilian life to abandoning Peter Parker and embracing Spider-Man fully. This is literally the most bleak portrayal of Spider-Man we have gotten on the big screen. And even though I know it's going to get reversed as all things do, I'll never forget the feeling I had when I left that theater after seeing him jump off that building and swing into the night, knowing things will never be the same again. Y'all ever heard of The Last of Us? Well, I'm not saying, of course you have. Look at you. My brother Joel brought this girl who may be the answer to helping society come back from this apocalypse to the only doctor in the world who can make a vaccine, but as a result, will kill her in the process. Now, to play devil's advocate, there's no saying that it could bring back society. If anything, truthfully, a real scenario would be the Fireflies would just keep that shit as an ultimate trump card to hang over the heads of the other factions in the world of The Last of Us. Primarily the government, as that's their biggest opposition. There isn't really a guarantee that all the words out of Marlene's mouth were honest, but we'll never know because Joel wiped out the entire base.
I won't let you take her.
I'm sure you can see the point of no return here. When there was a glimmer of hope in this society that at this point had been in this state for, I think like 20 to 30 years or something like that. I can't fucking remember. One of you niggas fact check me. Joel snuck out the last light, literally dooming all of humanity to succumb to this apocalypse as its everlasting reality. And while we don't know for certain what would have happened if the operation went through, we definitely know what did. Thanks, Naughty Dog. Side note, you know what would kind of be funny is if in the third game, Ellie finds another doctor who can do the operation, she dies in the process. They made the vaccine and that shit just don't work. Like that shit would actually be funny. And I think it would be hilarious if they do it. But also, I kind of came up with the idea. So, Neil, cut my fucking check. Look, don't get mad because I'm bringing it back to manga. Like I said, these niggas do it best. It's like LeBron at the Super Bowl or whatever. These stories goated. And I was going to mention Berserk as it's probably the most popular and blatant display of this, but I don't want to get demonetized trying to go in depth as to show how messed up the eclipse is. So for the viewers watching, just know once the eclipse is about to happen, Ain't shit to smile about. But the story I will talk about is... oh yeah, this that good shit. Now, Devilman Crybaby is much more of a modern take on the original work, but it all ends the same and actually does some things better than the initial manga, if I'm being honest. But I'm finna spoil all this shit because I love this series so much. It's what catapulted me into Berserk and why I basically started focusing on this theme so much in the first place while I'm reading manga series. So the point of no return for this show is when Ryo reveals that Akira is a Devilman on live television, basically confirming to the entirety of the world that, yes, devils do in fact exist, and not only do they exist, but they can look like humans and can be standing right next to you. Now, I don't have Netflix anymore. I'm not fucking giving them niggas $20 a month. It's not happening. But I'm pretty sure he did this after the public was in mass hysteria. Like, I think the public were getting whims of devils in public because this nigga Devilman was out here fighting devils, of course. And what started as a watch this edgy teen transform into this sick-ass devil and curb stomp the dick and balls out of these other devils quickly turned into a horror series where humans are turning against their fellow man, killing one another out of absolute fear. It's literally terrifying to fathom how bleak that world is. Not only that, but our main cast isn't even safe from this shit either. This ain't Dragon Ball, motherfucker. This that real shit. This that shit MTV don't want you to see. But okay, I think y'all got the point. I'm an analyzer nigga. I be analyzing things. I think the story beat is so refreshing when I'm reading or watching something. It breaks up the monotony, leaving things fresh right before I get bored. And I think y'all should too. Cause I'm smart. I say smart things. I'm the smartest person to exist. Leave a like, comment, share this video mad long. I hope you niggas still watching. Here come the outro.
Popping it, pass on my coat. I'm on the road, roll like